Vesuvio. Salvador has suggested they meet at Vesuvio. For him, the bar is a place of nostalgia, whereas Luisa has never left San Francisco, lives in that same rent-controlled studio on Upper Grant Avenue, where she paints, teaches, and sleeps. She stops first for coffee and a sandwich at Trieste. One clarifying gin, she tells Jacques, a student of hers who works the counter. Then I'm out. Ooh, old lover in town, returns Jacques, sliding over a steaming espresso. Oh, he's old, all right. Salvador must be 70 now. He'll probably show up in a beret, Luisa cracks. I don't buy the cool act, Mama. You're excited. Here, I have a brooch and a hat for you, cobalt blue. In exchange for painting lessons, Jacques provides a bounty of paste jewelry, sweater dresses, and hats. His second job is manning a donation drop-off box in the grocery parking lot near the Mark Hopkins. Cast-offs from opera and symphony hall ladies. Salvador is waiting for her at a table overlooking Kerouac Alley. Yellow guayabera, short beard. His hair is silver now, messy. The sill is lined with potted spider plants. They're the only customers here. His deep-set eyes take her in as she stands before him. Only to Salvador is Luisa still young. My heart, he says. They take each other's hands. The bartender sees Salvador's nod, brings glasses of Hendrix with fat cubes of ice and slices of lime. Salvador leans toward her. Something on my mind these days, Miss Luisa. How easy it is to dismiss drug-fueled intimacy as false. But think of the absolute trust it took to go so high together. Luisa smiles. It's like Salvador to launch into heavy talk after all this time. She supposes most of his friends in the suburbs have gone sober. Yeah, she allows. People now don't get that. The core you, it's the real you. Letting something consume you, letting it come. He releases her hand. She catches the scent of his sweat when she shifts to remove her hat. I mean, that's intimacy. Also intimate? That backyard brunch where they met, where Luisa, then in her 20s, had a couple of mimosas and tried to play his conga, and Salvador said to slow way down first and let the feeling rise up from her pussy. Give herself over to it, feel herself burn. He was an older man and married. Her gay friends laughed, but Luisa had given him her number. Absolutely, she says. Pure intimacy in other ways too, Miss Luisa. An ecstatic union. We had that. His eyes turn serious. Just my statement. She is brought out of her body at his words. Watches that tongue as he speaks. This man has pierced her, tattooed himself on her skin. The same tongue. She strokes her arm and melts into herself. Their drinks have been drunk and replaced. They've each filled the other in on a little news, but mainly with the other's scent. Salvador's tongue is dancing in Luisa's ear. His fingertips taste of lime. She brings him in. Because someone who knew Luisa in her 20s knows what she is about. Because Luisa feels like herself for the first time in ages. In the man beside her, she sees the broad-chested lover whose skin smelled of amber, who all those years ago would mouth her wrist and let her see the tip of his tongue before making her legs go liquid. Because he sees her as she was, too. After bringing more drinks, the barman makes himself scarce. Salvador's tongue moves to Luisa's neck. She feels like a woman in one of those French films they'd watch at the Roxy Theater. In the glasses before them, ice cubes slide down across each other's facets, like the instant before an avalanche, like so much arriving, but slowly at first. When Luisa at last excuses herself for the toilet, Salvador stays seated beneath the swagged stained glass lights. She knows he'll leave Vesuvio while she's away from the table. She has seen the old man's shoes, the folded-up walker. Luisa feels her old lover's eyes on her rear as she walks away. In the toilet, she regards her reflection. What a gift to be seen and desired. She touches her fingertips to the delicate skin beneath her eyes, adjusts her beautiful cobalt hat. Yes, he is gone. The barman gives her a polite nod. He would have helped Salvador to his Uber. Or maybe one of his family members has spirited him away to a group dinner, a sunset view, the drive back across the bridge, and the freeways to home. Luisa walks Grant Avenue past the Savoy Tivoli. She's a little dizzy, past tall steps to iron-scrolled gates, and finally reaches the gated entry to her own building. Once, Luisa had burned for this man, available for Salvador any time he could come. She spent more than one dawn curled in the fetal position on her bathroom floor, bereft. But by the time he announced his plan to divorce his wife and be with her, she sent him away. He'd wept, spent the night slumped outside her door. For years, Luisa ignored his letters. Also true, Salvador exists. He's not a phantom pulled from a lifetime ago. He is flesh and blood, a man who knew Luisa in her juicy, full-throated youth. He is the same man. She is the same woman. She has her painting. Beautiful Jacques, who brings her treasures and weeps in Luisa's arms when a boyfriend has jilted him. Coffee friends, wine friends, painting friends. The astonishing beauty of San Francisco. Columbus Avenue, slanting down to the bay and the Golden Gate. Luisa does not pine for bygone days. She owns her memories. They are hers. And now Luisa has a new memento with its own color and heat, lays it upon the old memories. Brimful desire is like a trade wind, equatorial. Her urgent fingers find her center. The window is open. Sunday night sounds. The smell of cooking. Luisa thinks of Salvador's tongue. She and he are each other's secret, still. They don't need to see each other again. His hand is on hers, teaching her to play the drum. Or under her raincoat that afternoon at Washington Square Park. His tongue is marking all of her. And with that thought, a feeling of great depth blooms in Luisa, where her soul resides. She lets ecstasy take her over, lets herself